Hey guys, welcome back to Cannon's RV Repair. Alright, in front of me I have two Suburban furnaces. One of our subscribers asked me, hey Joey, how do I access the squirrel cage on my furnace? What is it and where is it? I heard it looks like a mouse wheel. And he's right. It's right here. This is a squirrel cage, but it looks kind of like, just like if you cut it in half, it's like a little gerbil wheel or mouse wheel. So your furnace probably looks like this right now before you take it apart, as long as you haven't started yet. And if it's an older style, it's going to have these screws on it. One there, three down here, one here, and one here. You want to unbutton these wires, unhook the sail switch right here, which will be two wires. You want to mark where they go, make sure you put them back where they were. And you can take these wires off when you fold this down. It'll just kind of lay down a little bit and you'll be able to see inside of there. And you want to use a pair of needle nose and be careful not to damage the sail switch. So you also want to clean it all out when you're in there. But once you've done that, you should be able to take this piece off. If you have the new style, it's going to have clips on the top. 1, 2, 3, and on the bottom. 1, 2, 3. Now these clips break a lot of the time when people take them off. So just know that if you attempt to take this cover off and you have the snap clips, there's a very good chance you're going to break it and you're going to have to buy a new cover for it. So anytime we take a cover off, when we're done, we throw a new sail switch on it because they're so cheap, and most of them don't need to be replaced when we do it, but we just do it because it's already off. And what if it stopped working 2 weeks after we put it back together? So now that we have it off, we have the squirrel cage. So how can we take this squirrel cage off, you guys? So if we slowly rotate this, look right here. You see this little notch in the squirrel cage? If you put an Allen key through this notch into it, you can see right here, there's a little Allen screw that you can put it into, and you want to loosen it. You'll notice there's a little blue on it. It's because they're putting some type of Loctite on it. I typically like to use blue Loctite myself because it does need to be changed. So, and before you remove this, if you're not very experienced at it, you want to mark where this wheel is, because if you don't, when you put the new one back on and you put everything back together, the odds are this wheel is going to hit the cover either over here, or in the front here somewhere. And it's going to make a very loud sound, and you're not going to like it, and you're going to have to redo everything you just did. You're going to have to readjust and locate this so that it's centered where it belongs. While you're in here, make sure you clean everything up. Get yourself some compressed air, an air compressor preferably, and blow it all out. Wipe it down. Just use a rag. You don't need to put any chemicals or anything else on it, because you just want to use a dry, clean rag and get rid of all the dog hair and pet hair that you can. So this is actually what pushes the air over the manifold, into the manifold, and then you have the box around the furnace itself, and you have your ducts. So this thing generates the airflow. Now, depending on if you have a 30,000 BTU or 35,000 BTU, will determine how much air this thing is probably going to push over. The motors on the 35 versus the 30 are not typically the same. So one is going to move more air and create more heat versus the other. So this piece here is what it has, another squirrel cage inside of it. And I believe there's a different name for it. I'm drawing a blank on it, but I call it the manifold wheel personally. But it looks like a little Ferris wheel that's inside of here if you took this all apart, and it sucks air in and blows air back out. Okay, intake and exhaust. So you can actually use this. If you blow air through it, it'll spin this wheel inside here and clean it as well, and blow air back out the exhaust. Okay, now the metal is going to be the exhaust. The plastic is going to be your intake, because the metal gets hot. The plastic, if it was the exhaust, it would melt, right? Okay, so Now that we've done all of that, we put everything back together, we want to test the function of the actual unit. Before we put it all the way away, you can do that by hooking up the ground wire, which is this yellow wire. Okay, and then you have your red power wire, and you have your two blue wires, which are going to be what go to your thermostat essentially. If you tie these two blue wires together, it's going to turn the furnace on as long as you have the red and the ground hooked up to a 12.6 volt DC or better power source. You could use a battery, you can use a NOCO jump starter box if you know what you're doing. But you know, there's just all these little things. Like, there's so much to learn about RV furnaces, especially if you're like trying to learn how to be an RV technician and work on them. A lot of RV technicians that are not familiar with working on them because they typically live in a warmer climate area like in Florida, not to target anybody, but some of them rarely have to work on them, and they mostly work on heat pumps all the time. And there's nothing wrong with that, but when it recently got really cold in Florida here about a week ago, I got probably over 50 calls from a bunch of different people and a bunch of different RV technicians that were not familiar with what was going on with the RV furnaces because they simply had not worked on that many. So that's one of the reasons we offer the RV tech support for our members only. And if you guys want to sign up to that, just join and either click the RV tech support, or you can support the channel simply by subscribing to the lowest tier on the channel. This helps us make more videos like this where we can get more in depth. And you know, if you guys want me to make a video showing disassembling everything, I can do that as well and upload that video. But this will answer that one subscriber's question of where's the squirrel cage. I've talked to this man many times. He's very capable of taking this apart and putting it back together. He's very, very handy. I mean, to be honest, like, I think he could probably go work on RVs now as you know, after the last 5 years that I've been doing tech support with him over the phone. So he knows who he is. Just a little shout out to him. Thanks for being a member for 5 years now of my RV tech support. So if you guys want to join, it's only $19.99 a month on the YouTube channel there. Click the join button and you get full access to talking to me and my dad. And I've been doing it for over, 24 years now. And my dad's been doing it for, gosh, like 35 or 40 years. I don't know, but the information is there. And we can fix a lot of things over the phone with customers. And just like when customers call us, we typically know what's wrong with the RV just by what they're explaining to us. And so when we schedule the job, we'll know what parts to bring or what parts we might need or how to fix it without parts. But that being said, thanks for watching. Thanks for being a subscriber. And I want to send a special shout out to everybody that's always commenting and, you know, on a regular basis when we upload videos. I know we haven't uploaded any in a while, but we're going to get back into it here. So thanks to each and every one of you that makes this possible. Till next time, safe travels.